Joining us now, Tricia McLaughlin, after a very remarkable weekend, DHS Secretary of Public Affairs. Tricia, thank you so much for joining us. It's hard to believe that Nicolas Maduro will be in court tomorrow, noon in New York City, in a courtroom. Unbelievable. His drug operation has long posed threats to the United States. That is per prosecutors that are going to work to bring him to justice. Your thoughts on exactly precisely how he has been a threat over these many years?
Molly, thank you so much for having me. And what a start of the year for the American people, for President Trump, for the people of Venezuela. A day of hope and a day closer to justice for the American people. Hundreds of thousands of Americans and American families grapple with overdoses, hundreds of thousands of deaths. And Nicolas Maduro is largely responsible for many of these, funneling deadly drugs into our borders, as Secretary Noem mentioned, really opening up their prisons and flooding the United States with these national security threats. So I don't think it can be overstated the thousands, if not millions, of lives that President Trump saved with this bold and brilliant action by our U.S. armed forces. The border being itself closed because of President Trump and Secretary Noem, that has stopped the flow of fentanyl into our communities 56%, and we're only going to see that number increase. So again, I don't think that we can overstate how many lives were saved with this action.
Certainly. Tricia, I want to talk a little bit about the Venezuelan people who are in the United States, especially those that are here under that temporary protected status. There's been some discussion in recent days, given the capture of Maduro, about if that temporary protected status is indeed going to end or if there's going to be a new discussion regarding it. What can you tell us about that program?
Well, that program, temporary protected status, is meant to be just that, which is temporary. And we've seen too many times the loss of integrity in that system. We've seen people come over from Venezuela who are members of Tren de Aragua. They entered this country legally using temporary protected status. Others had vicious criminal rap sheets, and we need to make sure that that program is protected. Unfortunately, we saw it being exploited under the Biden administration to rubber stamp these individuals in. So I'm not seeing any changes to our posture on this. I think the great news for those who are here from Venezuela on temporary protected status is that they can now go home with hope for their country, a country that they love, that there's going to be peace, prosperity, and stability. Tommy.
You know, Tricia, you look at the Maduro regime, about 8 million people left Venezuela as refugees, many of them as refugees. Hundreds of thousands of them ended up in the United States. Of course, the hope is that the country will get better, the people will go back home, and everything will work out. But is there a concern that perhaps what could follow is instability and maybe more people might leave Venezuela?
I think that of course, is a concern. I think that's a concern for the neighboring countries. Secretary Noem has, been to Brazil, Colombia, these other countries in the region. And of course, they have voiced such concerns that this mass migration from Venezuela, of course, as you mentioned, 8 million people leaving, how that has massive social resource constraints as well as economic consequences for these neighboring countries. Of course, as well, the United States, because we did allow an open border for 4 years. I think it's yet to be seen what's going to happen during this transition. But of course, that is something that we're aware of. But it's a new regime in the United States under President Trump. We are only letting those who come into this country legally. We are only letting those come into this country using the proper protocols. And we're no longer allowing our legal immigration system to be exploited. So these are certainly discussions that are going to be happening in the coming days.
Tricia, no doubt the world is a better place because Donald Trump was able to go out and capture and bring this person and his wife, Maduro and his wife, to justice. But that being said, these narco-terrorists, these drug runners, these networks, and the production of these drugs is still in place. So what is Homeland Security going to be able to do to thwart that? Because some of these ties, they go into the FARC, they go into Tren de Aragua, you have the Sinaloa cartel, and then you had this, President Trump highlighting that, hey, guess what, Colombia, you better be paying attention too, because we're taking no more. You're just going to be able to flow the cocaine north into the United States of America.
Jason, you're absolutely correct. These connections, these ties run deep. Maduro was really the world's largest drug dealer, and that network was huge, spanning across the globe. And so our Homeland Security investigators, our ICE agents are looking in the interior of a country, following leads, doing wide-scale investigations so that we really cut this off at the head and we can save more American lives. The border was one thing, but we have to look at what's already in our country, the infrastructure there, so that we can root this out.
Tricia McLaughlin, thank you so much, giving us a little insight into what's ahead for Venezuela. We greatly appreciate it and appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.